Brandon built me a fire because I like fires. House is a wreck. I just talked to my nurse again, and she's trying to make me an appointment with a rheumatologist, a lupus specialist. I think it's working. Working? Yeah. Wow, I look great. I just saw the doctor. Give me fluids and start running a bunch of blood work. My blood work's coming back normal. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I can't stop shaking. I felt a little better with the fluids going in, which makes me wonder. We're gonna check for blood clots and try some Ativan.
You want the sauce?
No, I just want to get it done. Ow, this hurts. This has no cushion whatsoever.
Oh, I can put a pillow in.
Yeah, I need a pillow.
Maybe not.
Okay.
I'll get you one.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, God.
Here's another one.
Thank you.
What's your name and birthday?
Oh, shut up.
It's ready to be read.
Okay. Back to my room. You brought me the fat lady wheelchair.
Oh, that's all we have.
Okay. Calling me fat?
No, you can tell on this CAT scan, you just got big boobs.
I'd like to know how much weight I've lost over this 3 weeks.
I'm sorry.
So were you able to talk to him? I just don't know what's wrong.
What can I say?
The CT's done. They're looking for blood clots at this point because one of my levels are up really high and it can signify blood clots. Other than that, they can't find anything wrong. Lupus sucks so bad. Hey guys, I'm home. After hours and hours and hours and hours of tests at the hospital, we've all come to the conclusion. I can't talk yet. We've all come to the conclusion that this is lupus. I did believe that a few weeks ago, but I wasn't sure. So we were treating everything as well as we could with avoiding steroids because steroids can give me steroid psychosis. It has in the past. What we found out last night eventually is, or what we did is we finally gave some Ativan for the triggers. Or tremors. I was having what's called rigors, and it doesn't usually last more than 12 to 24 hours, but it lasted for 3 days for me. Just constant shaking like that. And I couldn't stop moving, and it was just, I was so sick, guys. For the past 3 weeks, I've kind of been dying. Literally. Last night was the last straw. All night long, and at 9 a.m. I was in a really bad place. physically. I was very sick, and it was the first time that I was getting really scared. I tried to wake my husband up, but he had only been home for 2 hours after working a 12-hour shift all night, and he couldn't get up. So I tried to walk myself to the hospital, which is only 2 blocks away, but as soon as I walked outside, I almost passed out on the ground. So I came back in and sat down, tried to sleep. It got worse and worse and worse. So about noon, my nurse called me out of nowhere, because she's been trying to get me in to see a rheumatologist, and a rheumatologist is a lupus doctor, because we were all getting to the conclusion this has to be lupus. I'm still not great, but I'm no longer dying. They tested me for everything under the sun, and all forms of lupus, all forms of the flu, all forms of everything. I still need some more testing. But because they want to find out what started this lupus flare-up, if they can. And lupus is so stupid. I mean, it's just the most insane disease there is. At least in my opinion, and I've studied a lot of them. Autoimmune diseases are no joke, especially systemic lupus. We got my blood work back at some point. We're testing everything from blood cultures to see if I have bacteria in my actual blood, to testing for monostrep, all strains of COVID, all strains of the flu, all strains of everything you could even think of. I got tested for yesterday again, because this is the second time I'd been to the hospital in 3 weeks. I've been sick since the end of last year. But it had gotten so bad that I couldn't move. I couldn't get up and do anything. I barely made it to the bathroom half the time. I started throwing up the day before yesterday. And I thought I was dying of dehydration at this point, because I had had so little intake of food and drink. This is gonna be the worst video, and I'm really sorry, but I wanted to tell you guys what's been going on. We never told the kids how bad it was. But every day I saw in my husband's eyes how scared he was getting. And I never told anybody that I was scared. Because as soon as I'm the one that's scared, everybody thinks it's over. I've never been that scared that I wasn't gonna make it. There's only been 1 or 2 other times where I thought I wasn't gonna make it. Once was the gallbladder in the end, a year and a half ago. And there was a couple other times in my past. I'm being very vulnerable here. Lupus sucks. It is so scary. Because at any point in any day, your body could start attacking itself. And what that means is my body can attack my heart, my kidneys, my brain, my lungs, everything. I've tried to be so brave through this whole stupid COVID thing, but I've been terrified. I'm not allowed to get the vaccine per doctor's orders, because all of the specialists that I see have told me that I need to be healthy so that my sickly body can actually fight whatever comes in the vaccine. I have not been healthy enough since the beginning of COVID to get a vaccine. It's scary to think that there's stuff out there that might save you, but there's a 90% chance if you get it, it'll kill you. Thank God my kids are oblivious. I never tell them until I'm getting better how bad it was, and that's only if they ask. Every day I would wake up and I would think, today's the day I'm going to turn around, I'm going to start getting better. But every day I just got worse. when you have to hide how you feel to those that you love because you don't want to scare them. I think Brandon was terrified, and I hate doing that to him. I didn't tell him how bad it was, but he knew. Thank God I got such a good ER doctor last night. He did everything he could to figure out what was wrong with me. I had CT scans, and I had blood cultures, and I had everything you could imagine. It was a long, long day yesterday. Sitting in the hospital, and the only bed they had for me was the OB bed, which is so uncomfortable. You know, the one when you're having a baby and you have to take the whole end off of it? That's what I was stuck in for hours on end. Everyone was so kind, and everyone was so nice. And when you go to the ER, at least me, I always feel like I shouldn't be there. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm taking up a bed for someone who is sicker. But every single person that came in that room said, "You're the sickest one here." Guys, when you live every day with life and death, you try to ignore the sickness. The monkey on your back is just always threatening to take your life. I honestly never, ever know how I'm going to wake up the next day. I pray constantly that at least the next day I can function, no matter what the problems, whether I'm sick or well. There's no real well. That's the thing. You're never really well. You pretend, because who the crap wants to live with someone that complains 24/7? This was scary. I feel now that I'm on my road to recovery. I pray. I'm waiting to get in to see a rheumatologist, a lupus specialist. They always take forever. And this rheumatologist is 2 hours away from me. So I'm not really sure what else to say. What they have me on, here's what I've done to keep myself alive. I take vitamin C, zinc, and magnesium every day I've been sick that I could get it in and didn't throw it up. I took all of my LifeVantage supplements because they are omegas. They are high quality omegas. Probios, very high quality. And they have anti-inflammatory on the cellular level. And they also have a anti-inflammatory that works on your mitochondria and your cells. I also always have to take for the rest of my life levothyroxine because of my Hashimoto's thyroid. I have Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. I've been on that since I was 12 years old. And I also take something called Cymbalta. It's really called duloxetine. And it helps with your mental state and with all of the joint pain for fibromyalgia and lupus. I just want to tell you I'm alive. I know I've been gone for a while, but that's how bad it's been. I'm going to share whatever I got yesterday, but I was so delirious. And I want to be very truthful and raw about the situation. The reason I want to share this is because I think the more we understand about people that are not us and not what we go through, the more loving and kind and understanding people can be. So if you ever hear someone say that they have lupus, know that this might be part of their journey. Every lupus patient is different, and it's awful. You have to be a freaking detective to figure out what's wrong with you. I'm now on prednisone to try to calm my immune system. I'm on Ativan to help with the triggers, the rigors, whatever it's called, and the tremoring. and I'm trying desperately to get in to see a rheumatologist. We still have to go pick up our RV, and I don't know when I'll be well enough to do that. It's been sitting there waiting. It's like I put our life on hold because my body decided to try to kill me. One thing did happen that we figured out last night that I had never heard of. It's always this left field curveball with lupus too, that you're like, oh, well, I think it's this, and it's something so far different than what you thought it was. It's just so dumb. You have to be a freaking detective. And if you get a doctor that doesn't want to listen to what you have to say, because this disease takes so much detective work, you have to work in partnership with the patient as a doctor to be able to figure out what's going on. And that is what this doctor did last night. I kept thinking I was dehydrated. I was so dehydrated that my body was shutting down. All my organs were shutting down. And when I got there, when they did all the blood work, they said, yes, you are kind of dehydrated, but you're not dehydrated to the point where you're shutting your body down. There's something else, and we're gonna figure out what it is. And we figured out one of the things that was happening is that I'd never heard of this. Is there some kind of autoimmune disease that has to do with your mouth? But one of the things that it does is this autoimmune disease makes, no matter what you put into your body, water-wise, fluid-wise, you feel like the Sahara Desert is pouring out of your mouth. It is the most uncomfortable, painful, horrible thing to have what I had going on. I have a mouthful of like these little pustules. There's probably about 50 in my mouth that could start exploding at any time, and then I have a mouthful of ulcers. That's related to lupus. Because when you go see your rheumatologist, they ask you, do you have any ulcers in your nose or your mouth? I do. I can barely speak properly. My mouth's been swollen for 2 weeks and so dry through here that it's like every time you fall asleep, you feel like you're suffocating. So you just don't sleep, which is what your body really needs. It's a never-ending cycle. But I'll tell you this much. Once that doctor finally worked to figure out what was going on and make the decision that he thinks that this is lupus and not all this other crap everybody else wanted to say it was, like COVID or all of these other things. This is lupus. This is my body attacking me. I don't know what it has attacked so far, other than my mouth. And over the next month, I could have some serious issues. Talked about taking the appendix out if that happens, and all kinds of other things. So the never-ending disease gets me again. But hopefully I'm on my road to recovery. I could really use some prayers. Sorry to be so disgusting and weepy and sad. I'm just glad I'm not dead.